welcome back. I know you guys missed me, so I decided I was going to slide in here again and talk about an album that came out a few weeks ago that I've really grown to love. That album is Son of Spurgey by Daniel Caesar. He's done it again. It's his fourth studio album, and it's remarkable how he just keeps doing this. He keeps coming up with new projects that all have the same kind of Daniel Caesar recognizable feel to them, but they're all unique in their own way. They're unique in their message and their instrumental feel. So I'm going to get into it because there's a lot to unload with this, and honestly, I'm not going to fully get into it. So listen to it on your own time, do your own research, because this is a beautiful album for a guy who's had an interesting career path. So starting off, in case you were wondering, Daniel Caesar, in my opinion, is one of the faces of R&B in the 2010s, 2020s era. I was talking about R&B in Song of the Week. I'm talking about it now. Obviously, it's a big thing in my life, and he is one of those voices that's just always been so prominent, so apparent in the R&B scheme or atmosphere. I don't know why I'm buffering on my words here. Daniel Caesar's getting me too excited. So all that to say, this album still is R&B, but he adopts a slightly kind of different sound with this one. Like I was mentioning, this one's a lot softer, a lot more outdoorsy, which pairs with his album Rollout, which I'll get into after I do a little more preview of this album. So even though that this feels slightly different from his past hit albums, which are all great, if you haven't listened to those, give them a shot too. There still are these like melodic and rhythmic and lyrical kind of motifs that you can pick up and recognize. There's one line that's in Son of Spurgey that I can't say live on air, but it is a line from Always on his last album, Never Enough. And so I thought that was kind of a cool thing to look at that song, which was about a relationship, and putting it into the song that it was on this album and seeing how that relationship came to be. That's just a skill that Daniel Caesar has, is having those motifs kind of transcend albums, and I think that's really cool. So yeah, as I mentioned when I was getting into the intro, this album's been out since October, but because of how introspective it is, it really had to sink in for me. I had to listen to it for a few times for me to really like get the message of this album, and now that I get it, I think that this is a top 3 album for me in 2025. Do I think it'll get Grammy nods? Maybe for R&B, but it's not going to be the big face of the Grammys this year. However, I think that it is an album that is worthy of your ear because it's emotional, it's raw, it's introspective, and it's just a beautifully calm album with a clear message on a lot of fronts. It talks about his relationship with getting older, his relationship with learning that he's kind of becoming his father, who's this big revered figure in the small Canadian community that he is from originally. And it's also talking about his relationship with religion and this journey that he's been on now as a 30-year-old. Because if you don't know, I'll do this briefly because it could get a little sticky. Daniel Caesar has a interesting past of saying things that maybe he shouldn't say online. And so now that he is 30, he's reflecting on growing, and while he's hinted at this in songs from past albums, this album really just shows you that growth that he's experienced. And I think it's really tangible in the feels, in the lyrics. I think that it's clear more than ever. And also, speaking of this picture while it's up, it's already at Love Garden on Mass, but it was $40, so I wasn't going to buy that. But if you wanted to check it out on vinyl, you could check it out on vinyl. So now that I've talked about that enough, let's get into my favorite songs of the album. I was going to give you like a top 3, but the 3 turned into 4, 4 turned into 5, 5 turned into 6. So I decided that I wanted to play a little game with you guys. Is that okay? Okay, cool. My game for today is that I'm going to give you a few songs that coincide with another Daniel Caesar album. So if you are a listener of Daniel Caesar and you think, oh, I might like something that sounds like this album, you get the point. So if you liked Case Study by Daniel Caesar, I think 2 songs that stick out are Moon featuring Bon Iver and Sign of the Times. Both really beautiful songs that have the kind of airy feeling that Case Study has. And then if you like Never Enough, his most recent project other than this one, I would say listen to Root of All Evil, which is one of my favorites on this album, clearly. I really like the drums on it. And Who Knows, which probably I think is the best song on this album. It's so emotional. It hits so hard. It's so clear in what he's trying to say, mixed with a really clear instrumental. And overall, it's great. And then this new kind of sound that he's adopting with this album, 2 songs that really illustrate that are Baby Blue, which features his dad actually, and Call on Me, which is one of the singles that he released before the album. It was a song that really grew on me, and the juxtaposition of that kind of song in the context of the album becomes really clear when you give it a listen. So I know I've been talking to you for a while, so I'm going to wrap it up here and let you form your own opinion. But that's what I thought a little bit into Daniel Caesar's new album, Son of Spurgey.